The police just charged or kettled in a blocked group of protesters.
Le pays plus raciste du monde, c'est la France.
Les Noirs qui sont morts pour la France, les Gilets Noirs continuent la légende.
Since October 2018, Yellow Vest or Gilets jaunes protests have engulfed France, a grassroots fight for economic justice in reaction to President Emmanuel Macron's neoliberal policies. But alongside his economic reform, Macron has also been quietly changing France's immigration laws, doubling detention periods, speeding up deportations, and limiting asylum applications. In response, another movement has been making itself heard: the Black Vests, or the Gilets Noirs.
Les Noirs qui sont morts pour la France, les Gilets Noirs continuent la légende. Notre mission est claire. La France déporte, la France qui nous a colonisés.
On July 12, 2019, activists from the Gilets Noirs, a movement that's led and organised by undocumented workers, known in France as the Sans-Papiers, staged a sit-in at one of France's most historic buildings, the Panthéon, and from there they caught the world's attention. But this wasn't their first action. On May 19, 2019, they occupied the Charles de Gaulle airport, demanding to speak to the CEO of Air France, who they say collaborates in the state deportation of the Sans-Papiers. And on June 13, 2019, they occupied the headquarters of one of the world's largest catering companies, Elior. We caught up with them in Paris. So we're at a protest organised by the Gilets Noirs movement, and they're here to put pressure on a meeting that's happening in this stadium behind me. The idea is that they want this company, Elior, to legalise its workers and all of the rights that come with that. But really what's quite incredible is that a group of people who occupy such a precarious position in a society have managed to come together, organise, and get a company as powerful as this to the negotiating table.
Elior, on a commencé par lui, parce que c'est un grand escroc. C'est des escrocs. Et on vient juste de commencer.
Bakary is a sans-papier and a member of the Gilets Noirs. His name has been changed and his identity hidden as he faces deportation if singled out by the French state. He told us that Elior was not only exploiting sans-papier labour, but also using that labour to cater to different parts of France's immigration infrastructure. Elior's sans-papier workers cater and clean the courtrooms and deportation centres to which they themselves could later fall victim.
Les centres de rétention, tu travailles contre un sans-papier et tu construis le centre de rétention des sans-papiers. Donc on avait allé attaquer là-bas pour lui dire qu'arrêtez l'exploitation. On n'est plus esclaves.
Although there are legal pathways for French companies to normalise the status of sans-papier workers, normalisation comes with labour rights, which companies like Elior would rather avoid. But through their actions, the Gilets Noirs have forced a commitment from Elior to provide paperwork that will begin the process of normalisation for over 200 of its sans-papier workers.
Un vidé sans-papier, on voit que le mot sans-papier même, c'est un mot comme un peu dégueulasse. Ici, si tu n'as pas de papier, le patron sait que tu n'as pas de papier, il va t'exploiter. Avant, je suis là, j'ai peur d'aller acheter même le pain. Parce que tu as sans papier, je vois que tous les temps, ils déportent les gens.
France detains more undocumented migrants than any other EU country and is one of its biggest deporters. Ala ad-Din and his pregnant wife Tibian are from Sudan. They were detained in the Min el Amalo deportation centre and were due to be deported imminently. We visited Ala ad-Din, but we weren't allowed to bring in any recording equipment, so we interviewed him after by phone. It soon became clear why the centre didn't want cameras inside.
My wife is pregnant. You know, it's about 8 days. she didn't eat. I told them this, and they said, okay, no problem, but you must give her some water with sugar. They are joking. Pregnant woman, all can she eat? Nothing. She can drink water with sugar. This place is horrible, you know. No one can live in this place.
We received the doctor's letter from activists that confirmed that Tibiane was sick, that she was not fit to remain in the deportation centre, and that she should not be deported in her current state of health. Still, the deportation was set to go ahead.
I'm wanted, and also my wife, because they arrested us several times, and we have been tortured in Sudan, and they threatened us they will kill us. They booked for us a flight to return back to Sudan. That means they are killing us.
Since the introduction of the new immigration laws, deportations have increased by at least 20%, and many of these are carried out by force.
Même s'ils voulaient te débarquer, ils vont t'attacher comme un criminel. Tu ne peux pas parler, tu ne peux pas crier ni rien du tout. Souvent même ils te droguent. Notre camarade, il était au Sénégal actuellement. Ils sont déportés, alors qu'il n'est pas sénégalais, il est mauritanien.
CIMAD is an organisation that works with detainees in France's euphemistically named retention centres. Activists Hortense and Marco have been working in these centres for 2 years.
Je ne suis pas dans la tête de Monsieur le Président Macron. Ce qui est sûr, c'est que cette loi, elle est très autoritaire, elle est très répressive. Donc le visage libéral de Macron, c'est une chose, mais par contre, il y a une politique extrêmement répressive à l'encontre des personnes étrangères qui s'est installée, qui était déjà avant, mais qui a été très aggravée par le gouvernement actuel.
C'est une question aussi de justice sociale. Il y a des personnes dans le monde qui peuvent voyager avec leur passeport sans avoir d'obstacles pour passer d'un pays à l'autre, d'un continent à l'autre. Et il y a beaucoup de personnes qui n'ont pas cette possibilité.
From village residents banding together to block police access to migrants, to activists grounding planes by refusing to sit down, solidarity has come from all corners of French society, upholding that very French heritage of resistance and protest. Danielle Obono is a French MP with the left-wing Fransa'nın party and is one of the most active advocates of the rights of the sans-papiers. She told us about the history of this struggle.
In France, it started in 1995 as a social movement because at the time those sans-papiers and their supporters stayed in a church in Saint-Bernard, and it's a very famous occupation because the government at the time entered the church, which used to be a sacred place and where police couldn't, barge in, and it created a big wave of protest and support for people who were just asking for their administrative papers.
The Gilets Noirs are a dynamic new chapter in this story, but across France, multiple struggles are being fought by undocumented workers in parallel. In Paris, sans-papiers workers have organised a strike at one of the country's biggest delivery companies, Chronopost. There we talked to a striking worker.
C'est la misère totale. Parce que nous, on travaille là-bas de 3h du matin. Ils vont te donner 30 minutes, 25 minutes, une seule personne de décharger les camions. C'est faisable.
Worker exploitation, harsher immigration laws, and pregnant women forcibly deported. Daniela Obono says that this is all part of a tough on immigration image that the French government wants to cultivate.
Why do they want that image?
Because they pandering to the right wing and the far right electorate. That's obviously, and to win votes, and because I think unfortunately part of them do believe in that idea that there's some threats from migrants.
It's not just France that's reacting to the perceived threat of migrants in this way. It's a trend across the whole of the EU. Anti-immigrant sentiment in Europe and the resulting increase in support for far-right parties have left centrist politicians like Macron desperately trying to play catch-up, implementing policies that get those votes back. Just outside of Paris, we were faced with the result. Whole communities living in tents on the sides of highways, in conditions of neglect. A family we met told us their story.
نحن في واحد أسبوع تسكن هنا، نحن ما أشوف دولة ولا بوليس ولا ناس يساعد. نحن صوماليين وصوماليا يعني صعب في حارب في مشاكل. نحن هربنا أوروبا، نحن فكرنا ممكن أحسن، لكن نحن أشوف الحين هنا صعب كتير. نخاف نحن ممكن ناس يقتلون بالليل، أنا بخاف كل يوم مع العيال كمان.
How long have you been living in France?
For 1 week.
1 week? And what do you think of it?
I like it that we go in a house.
What do you want to do when you grow up? You want to go to school or?
Yes, I want to go to school and I want to be a teacher.
What do you want to teach?
English and math.
How does it feel to live here with your family, to be here?
It's good, but some days it's cold in the night.
It's out of these precarious conditions that movements like the Gilets Noirs were born. They say that their movement encompasses the struggles of everyone who is undocumented, and one of their strengths lie in how they're organized. What's really fascinating about the Gilets Noirs movement is that they're organized through their housing. There's a complex of social housing across Paris, they're called foyers, and through these foyers they meet, they organize, and then they carry out direct actions. These foyers are spread like a web across the capital. Within them, the activists meet, usually in prayer or common rooms, and plan their actions. It's from these foyers that the Gilets Noirs organized their action at the Pantheon. We were the only international media that was present for the entire action, including its aftermath.
On est des sans-papiers, des sans-voix, des sans-visages.
مرأة وزوجها مفروض يرحلهم للسودان رغم إنه المرأة كانت مشاركة في الثورة وزوجها مشارك في الثورة وفرنسا عارفة إنه السودان فيه ثورة. La femme s'appelle Tibiane et l'homme s'appelle Ala Ad-Din.
Toutes les femmes gilets noirs sans papier, nous sommes là pour réclamer ce qui nous est dû.
Okay, so at first they said no one's allowed to use the toilet, they've closed all the toilets, and now more police have come and they're just telling everyone to sit down. It looks like the police have called in the reinforcements. So they've been negotiating with police, and they said that they will only leave if they all get to leave together because there's fear of reprisals and also fear that some of them may be arrested and taken to detention centres. And so now they're moving out, but they're moving out all together. But once they were cleared from the building, they weren't allowed to stay together for very long. I can't really believe what we've just witnessed. The police just charged a kettled-in, a blocked group of protesters. So there's a line of police behind them, there's a line of police in front of them, and they charged at them. Of course, the only thing that will happen is everyone is going to get crushed.
c'est pas la peine ça fait mal, mais il faut...
On savait, parce que nous, on s'attendait qu'on parte tous ensemble, mais du coup, il veut nous prendre un à un. Du coup, là, maintenant, on est prêt. Du coup, soit il nous laisse partir, ou bien il nous embarque tous.
En profitant de leur situation, sachant qu'ils n'ont pas de papier, et ils ne sont pas considérés, c'est comme des animaux.
Why do you think they reacted in this way?
Because they're afraid. Because the Black Vests are now a big movement who just are really to go out in public spaces and say we want to exist, and they want to kill this hope.
After the fourth charge by the police, it seemed like they would continue until everyone was injured or detained. But just as we were expecting a new charge, MP Daniela Obono arrived. Soon after, the police left, finally allowing the solidarity demonstrators outside to join them.
Racisme comme les pays plus racistes du monde, c'est la France. Avant notre grand-père et notre arrière-grand-père, qui est mort à propos de France. Mais aujourd'hui, le plus ennemi d'Afrique, c'est France. C'est la France qui est en train de détruire l'Afrique. Toutes les guerres qui sont en train de passer l'Afrique, c'est la France.
Since the so-called end of French colonialism in Africa, France has militarily intervened on the continent over 30 times and has had a role in deposing multiple sitting heads of state, including the killing of Libya's Muammar Gaddafi and the assassination of Burkina Faso's Thomas Sankara. Through its military presence in Africa, France secures and maintains access to strategic raw materials, among them oil, gas, uranium, and gold. Through its CFA currency, France holds 50% of the foreign reserves of 14 African nations and wields huge influence over their economies. It's this backdrop of neo-colonial military intervention and extraction that backgrounds the struggle of the sans-papiers, many of whom hail from France's former colonies.
Dates back to colonial slavery time when institutional racism started. The systemic nature of it was just reproduced and helped maintain colonialism after slavery, and then after colonialism it's just it took another form.
Et quelle est notre vie encore? Ici on n'a pas de vie, chez nous on n'a pas de vie. Même si vous n'aimez pas les Noirs, arrêtez la guerre chez nous, on reste chez nous. Tous ces problèmes qui sont en train de passer là-bas, c'est pour cela qu'on est en train de mourir dans les Méditerranéens, de venir ici. Tout ça c'est la France.